Picture this. You open your banking app on a random Sunday night, and the number staring back at you is $12. Not $1,200, $12. And right below it, your phone buzzes with a notification from someone you follow online talking about their investment portfolio hitting six figures. You just sit there for a second, thinking, how is that even the same universe I'm living in? You didn't do anything reckless to get here. No huge mistake, no wild spending spree. You just never had anything left over. Bills eat the paycheck disappears. And every time you think about building wealth, it feels like a conversation for people who already have money, not people trying to figure out how to make it to Friday. So naturally you start wondering, is it even possible to build real wealth if you're starting from literally nothing? Or is that just something people say in videos?
Here's the thing. Zero is not the problem you think it is. The real problem isn't your starting number. It's not knowing what to do with the next dollar that comes in. And in this video, I'm going to give you the realistic, no-hype path to build wealth starting from absolute zero. Not the fantasy version. The version that actually works when you don't have a cushion to fall back on. My name is Jack, and I spend way too much time thinking about how people build wealth from nothing. If you're someone who feels like you're starting from zero, or worse, starting behind, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. Almost all wealth building advice online quietly assumes you already have some money to work with. Invest this percentage. Put this much in an index fund. Great advice if you have $500 sitting around. But if you have zero, that advice is useless. It's like handing someone a recipe when they don't have a kitchen.
So we need to talk about the thing that actually matters more than your starting amount. And that's direction, not size. Let's look at the math for a second. Imagine two people. Person A has $0 and does nothing different. 1 year later, still zero. Maybe worse if debt creeps in. Person B also starts at zero, but puts away just $5 a day. That's it, $5. After 1 year, that's about $1,800. Not life-changing on its own, but here's what most people don't realize. Person B now has a system. Person A still has nothing, and more importantly, no proof that saving is even possible for them. That gap, the one between I have a system and I have nothing, is actually the biggest gap in wealth building, bigger than the dollar amount itself. Now let's talk about why starting from zero feels so paralyzing, because it's not really about the math, it's about psychology. When you have nothing, your brain slips into something called scarcity mode, and scarcity mode does something specific. It shrinks your thinking down to today. Survive today, worry about tomorrow. Long-term planning feels like a luxury you can't afford. Researchers who study financial behavior have found that scarcity doesn't just limit your money, it actually limits your bandwidth to make good decisions about money, which means the anxiety of having zero actually makes it harder to build your way out of zero. It's a trap that feeds itself. So here's the step-by-step path out. Step 1, stabilize your first dollar. Before anything else, you need to prove to your own brain that saving is possible. Not $1,000, $1. Move it into a separate account. That single action breaks the pattern of zero and replaces it with something, however small. Step 2, find your one leak. You don't need a full budget overhaul. You need one leak. A forgotten subscription, a convenience purchase you don't even enjoy anymore. One thing costing you money on autopilot. Close it. That's your first real fuel source. Step 3, build the smallest possible habit. Not $50 a week. Whatever you can automate without noticing. $2, $3, $5 a day. The goal isn't the amount. It's building a habit that survives bad weeks. Because bad weeks will happen. Step 4, treat income growth as part of the plan. Here's what most people don't realize. If you're starting from zero, cutting expenses can only take you so far. At some point, the fastest path forward is increasing what's coming in.
extra shifts, a skill you can sell, a side gig, even a small raise. Every dollar of new income should immediately get split, part to your habit, part to living. Step 5. Let the system run longer than feels comfortable. This is the part nobody wants to hear. The results from zero are boring for a while. Boring is fine. Boring means it's working quietly in the background. Let me tell you about someone I'll call Diego. Diego wasn't lazy. He worked full-time and still ended most months at zero. He didn't start with a plan. He started with $3 a day into a separate account, because that's all he could commit to without breaking his budget. 6 months in, he had a little over $500. Not impressive on paper, but Diego said something that stuck with me. He said, for the first time, zero didn't feel permanent. That mental shift is what actually changes everything.
Now, you might be thinking, Jack, I don't just have zero, I have debt too. Fair point. The framework doesn't change much. Your first small habit might go toward minimum debt payments, plus a tiny extra amount, instead of pure savings. The principle is identical. Prove the system works, then scale it. Or you might be thinking, I make minimum wage, this won't work for me. Here's the truth. The amounts will be smaller and slower at first, but the sequence, stabilize, close a leak, build a tiny habit, grow income, stay consistent, works at every income level. The math scales, the psychology doesn't change. So let's recap the path. First, stabilize your first dollar to prove saving is possible. Second, find and close one financial leak. Third, build the smallest habit you can sustain. Fourth, treat income growth as part of the plan, not a bonus. And fifth, give the system time to run, even when it feels slow. Because here's the truth most people never hear. Zero isn't a verdict on your future. It's just a starting line. The people who build real wealth from nothing aren't the ones who had a lucky break. They're the ones who stopped waiting to feel ready and started with whatever they had, even if that was $12 in a banking app on a random Sunday night. If this video helped you see your starting point differently, hit subscribe. And I'm curious, what does zero look like for you right now? Let me know in the comments, because that number is not where your story ends.